funny.
It's my first day on a mic, bro.
He just throws it out there. No, I don't know about
And sadly, this week we're not joined by our buddy Norman. He had to... What did he have to do? Do we know?
Terrible indigestion.
Oh.
So he's got this thing called a job.
Oh.
And then they called him back in. I don't know much about it because this is all I do. This is mine totally.
A job? Anyway, I have one of those too. But we totally get it, Norman. We miss you, buddy. We wish you were
Miss
here.
you do. Miss you do.
Yeah, super bummer he's not here.
That means we're on double the salt next week. But
We're on a rotation
I will,
schedule. Levi, you got to miss next week. Dave, you're the one after you're gone.
we got to DoorDash you some gator bites.
yeah.
Yep. Dude, I'm ordering it up right now.
This makes, what, lap 11?
Lap 11, boys.
Wow.
I was excited about 10, but 11, it could be better.
Hey, it's 10 for me, so I'll take it.
It's number
You
one.
don't count.
Number one for Mr. East. We're really happy to have our friend James East here. We've been talking about this guy for weeks and weeks. James East of Goon Squad, Team Goon Squad Entertainment. James, you want to introduce yourself a little bit for us?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This has been listening to everyone so far and really enjoyed it. Been cool supporting some friends. My name's James East. I'm the owner of TeamGoonSquad.com. We are a sim racing broadcast, media, advertisement company that's also very intermingled with real life racing shenanigans. So kind of bridging that gap between the two and just kind of scratching that itch at the most affordable way we can and getting our online adrenaline each and every week when the opportunity allows.
Right, and if you haven't tuned into previous episodes, James is the broadcaster that a lot of us work with across multiple leagues. Primarily for me, it's for the League Zero, which is our Formula 3 league on Thursday nights. James does a great job. All the Team Goon Squad guys do a great job. They also run the Team Goon Squad Endurance Series, which Norman is very active in. I'm sure you've heard him talk about that. So James, getting into some league racing, I guess, what are some of your highlights for the last couple of seasons or last year? I mean, where has Team Goon Squad gone? Are you guys doing any big events? Looking forward to anything cool, or what's coming down the pipeline?
Oh man, last year was crazy. We did 391 broadcasts with all of our teams covering, I think we were live 6 days a week, multiple races going on certain days of the week. So that got super, super hectic for me. Probably one of my highlights is I did work for a company. Thank God I didn't sign the NDA. I did work for a company that worked for Williams Esports. So I was one of the producers and assistant producers covering some of their Coke Series NASCAR guys in the Pro Series last year, which was super, super cool. We were tied into the Pro Team Zoom call, and I mean, we had bird's eye view of what the pros were seeing. We got to see what the race control was typing in chat, which was absolutely hilarious at a pro level event. And right now, for me personally, I've kind of backed off the mic as much after doing we did those 390 something shows last year, did a bunch of trackside announcing. So now I'm trying to give more opportunities to our friends at Team Goon Squad to cover more of their own shows. And that way I can kind of sit back a little bit, focus on running things, and maybe actually sim race again for a change, and instead of sitting in the booth all week.
We'd love to see you out there, man. Even more. We've seen you out there some, but we'd love to see you out there more. How did you get into all this, man?
So it started, I got into iRacing, I guess 3 years ago, right before COVID. I wanted to scratch the itch of missing out on sport bike racing because I just love competing and I don't really care what it is. So I got into iRacing. I joined one Discord that was going to host an SK modified league because I like short asphalt racing. And one day they did at everyone in Discord and said, hey, we had emergency. We need somebody to run production tonight. We'll provide the software and we'll give you $10. And I looked over at my girlfriend. I was like, well, this sounds amazing. We're about to pay for our own sim racing.
Tight.
So I started working with those guys for, I don't know, a few months. And then I did the math of how much money I was actually making. And it was $10 a race. So, if it's an hour race, you made $10 an hour. And then one night we had a 3-hour show. And I was like, wait a second. I didn't do very good on that. And I've always been kind of business oriented. So after working with those guys for 3 or 4 months, I was like, I think I can do this at a much better level with better production, better everything than these guys. And then bought the software, got everything set up on my end, and just started cold calling different leagues and seeing if we could get rock and rolling. And I want to say Antonio with League Zero was maybe my second or third ever gig. I want to say it's we've been working together for a very long time. Correct me if I'm wrong there, man.
Yeah, I think you've been coming with us since like season, I want to say 2 or 3. We got picked up pretty quick.
Yeah,
I remember that. It was still early days. I remember that because, you know, it was. I remember we originally looked at you through Jared's old league, Camping Universe. You were doing a couple races for them. I think you might have done a couple seasons there. They were probably one of the first of a few. But yeah, no, it was cool, man. Hopping on board. I mean, your voice is kind of iconic for the league now, so it's pretty damn cool. I mean, even listening to you now sounds kind of surreal because it's funny. I think you're broadcasting my race right now, but instead I'm not being interviewed because I'm not on the podium, especially not anymore. So it's kind of cool being able to talk to you now because I don't get too much anymore.
Yeah, for better or worse, this is my real voice. This isn't like a radio voice or anything that's dolled up. So you're right. It's weird. I don't have like, you know, the professional English Formula One voice. I don't have a crazy Southern drawl NASCAR voice. I just kind of got a high-pitched voice where a dude gets excited all the time, and thankfully it's worked out, so because I can't change it.
It works for me. And what you said, Antonio, is funny because I think this is the only time you'll see Antonio, David, and Levi in a podium interview, essentially.
Yeah, hey, there you go.
We won't talk about it one.
I think I've gotten Antonio a couple times over the years.
You get me on sprint races once in a blue moon.
And there was one time Antonio joined my booth in the middle of a show. While mid broadcast, he just pops in the show and goes, "Hey man, what's going on?" Like, not kind of working right now, man. What do you got going on? He very quickly dipped out of that broadcast channel.
That's
awesome.
So funny. That was my own race too. That's what's even funnier. Like I was missing that day, because I think I was racing or something. So I had like left and I was traveling, and I was sitting in the trailer and I was like, hey, I see James just sitting in the channel by himself. I'm like, what's he doing over there? So I pop in and I'm like, he's live broadcast right now.
Yeah, your own gig.
I know, it's my own race too. I was like, awesome. I was like, that's epic.
How did you get into broadcasting in general?
Literally just through iRacing. I've got no experience, no nothing. It was just that one Discord post where they wanted somebody to do production. And I mean, I'm very knowledgeable about racing since I've done it my whole life. I didn't know I would be good at it. And I need to go find those very old shows because I'm positive I was not good at it. But I mean, fake it till you make it. If you can talk about racing and sound halfway exciting, I think it's a super easy gig. And then once I started getting into it, I found some really cool mentors that have done a lot of cool stuff. I mean, I was buying announcing books that had nothing to do with racing. It was basically baseball, basketball, soccer. And the big thing I got from that one book is, man, if you can make 9 innings of a slow baseball game sound exciting, racing is crazy easy, where you've got just action to talk about. Because if it's an exciting race, I think anybody can show up, phone it in, and put on a halfway decent show.
Right.
But if it's a boring race, like that's where you have to shine in your craft and be able to, you know, talk about, hey, Kasai's highest finish this season was a 4th at Spa or whatever in that, and find the action.
That's so cool, man. And you're doing some real life broadcasting now too, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I dialed off of it this year since I'm traveling so much for my quote unquote real corporate job. I got a real job by accident. That's been fantastic. Last season, so in addition to those sub 400 shows, I was also doing flat track announcing, and it was a super cool gig. The problem was they were no less than 4 or 5 hours away from home. So I would leave early in the morning. It'd be like a 10 or 11 hour day, leave at midnight or 1 in the morning, depending on how long the race went, since flat track doesn't start till the sun goes down. Then I would haul all the way back home. And last year I had I think it was a 9:30 a.m. drivers meeting, 10 a.m. broadcast start time. So I would, drive to South or North Carolina, broadcast all day, announce all day, drive back all night, get 2 hours of sleep, and then do a virtual broadcast the next morning. So after last year, I was like, dude, I got to step back or I'm going to lose my mind.
Wow, man. Well, props to you for the grind. That's a lot of respect. To all you entrepreneurs out there, if you're listening to this, you have to seek demand and create supply, right?
Yes, and build a business, not a job.
That's right, man. That's absolutely right. So are you doing any real life racing?
Getting back to it, and that's one of the big reasons I wanted to lighten up the schedule is my girlfriend Maggie, she does track days, which are practice days at your local road race track. So a lot of the tracks you see in Sim on iRacing, Barber, Road Atlanta, stuff like that. VIR is a close one. Daytona. You can basically go pay to play on your motorcycle and do a practice day divvied up by skill level. So she does that real big. And I knew what was going to happen is when Maggie's like, hey, let's come do some track days together. I can't go not all out at anything I do. So when I know when I get back on track in the next few weeks, then we're going to start putting together a race program. And then we're going to go spend a bunch of money chasing glory. So super excited about it, but I know what I'm signing up for. So yeah, going to do some practice days once I get a cast off in the next couple weeks, and then see if I can get out on track for a couple of regional races and figure out if the throttle still works.
You don't have any kids, right? So there you go.
No kids, not married, not a ton of overhead. So I'm 31. I realistically don't have that many good years ahead of me to try and make anything with this. And even then, the odds are stacked, but I think I'm very selfish in what I do and what I like to chase, but it's a whole lot of fun, and I'm at the point where I just realized this is my life, and let's go for it.
That's awesome, man. Well, we hope that you don't drop any more plywood on your foot.
Yeah, thanks. This was a rough one.
Get well soon. How are you doing, by the way?
Good. I've been, despite doctor's orders, this was weekend 5 a couple days ago since I broke it. I've been walking around on the cast and doing stuff around the farm and work on the race bikes. I'll tape a towel around the cast on my foot, and that way it kind of preserves the cast. But Monday, I'm supposed to see the ortho, and either he's taking the cast off or I'm taking the cast off.
Way to go. Love it. Well, hopefully you have one of those vibrating saws and not just a Makita skill saw.
Oh, no, I'm not. No. Even though I can't feel the foot, I don't want to cut it. So I'm going to, if it gets to that point, I'll soak it in the bathtub and peel it off.
Right on. Well, we're going to keep James East around for the entire episode. No doubt you're going to be hearing a lot more of him. But before we focus on anything else, James, for anyone listening that wants to get involved with Goon Squad or hire you or your guys for broadcasting, can you tell us a little bit more about how to find you?
Yeah, check us out, teamgoonsquad.com. It's got a link to our broadcasting rates. You can drop a message on the website if you have a question. It's got a link to our Discord, which is absolutely poppin', as the kids say. It's a bunch of sim racers and real-life race nerds coming together. And, if you have a weird request, James at teamgoonsquad.com, send me an email, ask me about anything sim racing, real-life racing I can help with, and I'll be glad to help be a terrible influence to whoever I can.
And please check out their merch, too. I think it's really, really cool. And I personally wear a Team Goon Squad t-shirt quite often. So cool,
I've seen it.
Cool design, man. It's cool. It looks good. Looks good on a black background.
I got Team Goon Squad on my race car.
I'm telling you, man. See?
It's cool, bro.
All over the world. Anyway.
It's a cool logo. I like it.
Well, we love you like a brother, man. We're so happy to have you on today's episode. Really, we're kind of in a break right now in a lot of series. We're kind of waiting for Formula One to come back. We're waiting for IndyCar to come back to Long Beach. We were blessed with some stock car dirt racing over Easter weekend, which was really interesting. But before we get to real world racing, I thought maybe we should talk a little bit about sim racing, which is all of our field. We find ourselves here at least once a week doing something in the sim racing world. So got some big events coming up. We have the League Zero championship race this week on Thursday night at Interlagos. We know you love pronouncing that. So I guess going forward, I'd love to hear you guys' opinion on the state of iRacing, the state of the league. What are we excited for? Let's talk some sim racing, man.
I guess I'll kick us off with League Zero. We got a pretty tasty championship battle lined up here, I guess. We're going into the final round here, so round 12 of season 6, and we got the top 3 separated by 7 points in total. So that's pretty crazy. The competition back, though, is even crazier, too. Like, from 7th to, 11th or 12th. Like, if you have a bad race, you're gonna go to 12th. Like, let's put it that way. So, unfortunately, I have to miss the finale, which sucks, but I gotta miss it. I got some real life racing going on, so you're gonna probably see me in 12th. But yeah, no, those guys are mixing it up in the midfield. Like, literally, there's a 3-way tie for 8th, and a almost 3-way tie for what would be 11th too. Like literally these guys are separated by a point or two. So that's crazy in the midfield. The front of the field's crazy. You got Finley taking the lead right now. I think he actually passed Reed. Reed had a decent lead going on, but he had to miss last race. I don't know if some real life stuff was going on or what. So now he's 7 points down. It's going to be a crazy finale with Finley and Micah separated by 5 points, and then Micah and Reed separated by 2 points. So anything's up for grabs. It's anybody's game, depending on how either race goes. And yeah, here I am missing the race, man. Like, come on.
And we're all stewards, so really I guess Levi, is Levi technically a steward anymore?
I am a secondary steward.
Okay. So we only have one guy in here that's not a steward, and I know you're broadcasting, but I would love to hear some predictions because I can't safely make any.
What is it? Win it, Bennett, in it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
0.
I'm super excited because last season Finley and Reed going to the final round were separated by 1 point, and dude, it's anybody's guess on these races, either because of how big the field is and how busy it gets during the sprint. I mean, sometimes bad luck. Right now, man, I hope the commentator's curse doesn't follow through if I'm off the air, but I'm putting Micah Barnett as my bet to win it. He's been super consistent all season. He's got, I think, the second most wins so far this season as well. If he can avoid bad luck, I think he's going to win it. Man, I regret saying win it, Bennett, or in it now.
There's a lot
I'm going to cheat because they're all my friends. I'm going to say Finley and Gibson, obviously, Fitzsimmons and Gibson, obviously, both in it.
Yeah.
They've both had really good luck, and they've both had really bad luck at different races. And I think Reed, unfortunately, with whatever real-life circumstances he had going on, missing, I think, 1 or 2 rounds, I think at least 2. I think being 7 points behind is definitely not where he wants to be compared to last season where he was 1. And since I love to give him a hard time and he returns the favor, Ray Aguilar, even though I think he's locked into 4th, is my bet to Bennett. Because he's got nothing to lose. He has every reason just to absolutely lick the stamp and send it. So I think he's my bet for Bennett. I'm just hoping that, I know it's not going to happen, but I hope the feature and the sprint keep all the top contenders out of any unneeded carnage.
I think that was the most realistic in it, Bennett or win it I've ever heard. I'm with you, man. I'm with you on it. I think we're all going to lick the stamp tomorrow night or on Thursday night.
I was going to say, if there's a one guy that you don't want doing that, though, it's Ray.
Yeah, he's not afraid to send it.
But clean. He does a pretty good job saying clean. Just that dude he's coming.
You leave the door open. I'm telling you.
He is coming, man. Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be a great race, man. Interlagos always produces crazy good racing. It's why we go there at the end of the year. Like Antonio said, the battle through the midfield's crazy. The team points are close. This is working up to be one of the closer, more entertaining seasons, I think, in my opinion.
And since I don't get to talk to you guys, unfortunately, much like during the race, and we're all so busy, either working, racing, stewarding, I've got to brag on the entire field. The quality of racing we've had over the last 2 seasons, and the what used to be like David, you're a great example. It used to be like, hey, I was happy for a top 8. Like, that was a personal best, but the whole field has gotten so stacked now. Everybody in the top 10, crazy fast. A lot of the guys have developed so much racecraft over the last couple seasons. It's really cool for me as the guy who arguably watches more of the broadcast than anybody since I'm producing them, seeing everybody kind of rise with the tide on this series and just get exponentially better as the years go on.
Yeah, I've gotten twice. I've gotten twice the talent since I've started with League Zero, and I've lost 5 grid positions on average.
Well, you know why the quality of racing is a lot better the last 2 seasons, right? It's because I kind of haven't been there anymore.
I was going to say, I'm scared to ask why.
Yeah, because I took off a couple seasons, I'll come back next season just so it can get worse.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just taking everybody else. That's the problem.
We'll hold you to that.
Always been in it.
You'll get James something to talk about.
No, honestly though, all jokes aside, it has improved massively, and I always try and give credit where it's due. There's a few guys who we've had that were sitting in the back marker field when they first came in, and they've progressed to almost being top of the midfield now. Like it's quite intense how much these guys have improved. They've stuck with it. They've practiced. I mean, you've seen guys fall off or not fall off, but like there's just so many good people now and so many people have improved that now you're not seeing them where they normally would finish. Like look at someone like me or like someone like even Dave and Nick. Like we're like great, we're up there, but like if we got one slip up or one bad quality, like I'm in 13th and 14th. Yep. Like it's crazy. You go from like what used to be 5th to 15th. You're just like, whoa, man. Like, do I suck? But it's like, no, dude. You have one off race. You don't practice enough. Something crazy happens, and bada boom, bada bing. You're outside the top 10. Sometimes not even getting points. It's crazy, man.
It produces such good racing, and if you're an official F3 runner that has been fatigued, that's how I found League Zero. Is I was an F3 guy running officials. I was so crazy that I got my A license running F3. Like I was a crazy person, and I got tired of it. Like I just every other race at least was a total disaster. So I got on Reddit. And I found League Zero by searching F3 Reddit on Google. I don't know if you knew that. That's how I found us. And and honestly, I haven't run an official F3 race for 2.5 years, and I run 3 hours to 4 hours a week in the car for the last 2 or 3 years or whatever it's been. Three. It's been a long time. But I haven't done any official F3, and the itch is scratched, man. So if you're fatigued from F3 officials or just officials in general, please check out our league. And all of the Team Goon Squad leagues. The Endurance Series is killer. Do we have anything else coming up for that?
I think Fuji is coming up next. I need to check since I'm a terrible league owner. And shout out to Joseph Penn, who runs that league. He's our full-time race control. That guy is an absolute legend. I want to say Fuji's next, and then the Ring later after that. Let me get confirmation. Survey says yes, Fuji. 3 hours of Fuji, April 22nd, and then the Ring on May 6th, which is going to be, I think, about a 6-hour race. We will not be broadcasting that one because, boy, that's a long race.
Yeah. They're entertaining, though, man. If you do get a chance to even go watch the prior races that are tape recorded on Team Good Squad's YouTube channel, I mean, it scratches that itch for endurance racing, man. There's fuel strategy, tire strategy. There's the live stewarding is great. We see safety cars. It's real, man. It feels real to race in it, and it feels real to watch it. And so I'm a huge fan of that series. I wish I could race in it more. I'm so stupid busy on the weekends.
Me too, big dog.
Yeah, and league sessions, I mean, not just Team Goon Squad or League Zero. I mean, yes, coming to those are good ones to come to. But the officials they're fun and they have their place. But league racing is so much better. I've talked about it in the past. But I think that's just way more fun than doing the officials. So you get to know the guys, the camaraderie. The Discords. Speaking of, join our Discord. Come and tell us what we're doing wrong. But yeah, no, I really, really do like league racing way better. I'll jump on the big stuff that iRacing does, but for the most part, I mean, you can ask these guys. I got a trash iRating on road. I got the worst ever. Everybody brings me in as ringers when we do official endurances.
Oh, man. We love you, though.
Yeah, I try hard, but there's no good iRating for try hards.
Put it this way: there's a reason we haven't moved the cap up to 1,000 iRating minimum yet.
Yeah, we will.
That man standing in front of us right here.
Mama, it's me.
It's all right, man.
Right, but like Levi said, racing with the same guys every week, no matter what the league, gives that accountability. I mean, crashing yourself out, that's pretty bad. But we did the League Zero Legends, and I think I crashed out Dave. And that was a new level of feeling bad after that happened. You're like, all right, it's one thing if I wad myself up. I was like, but I just wadded up a homie, and I got to see him next week. So
that's okay.
It makes you think about it.
I got over it eventually.
It's still, it still bothers me. It's been like 4 months.
Oh, man. Well, I'm glad you got it off your chest. I forgive you. I guess on the sim racing front, we talked a little bit about rain last episode. James, we'd love to hear your opinion on, as a broadcaster who's going to have to be dealing with all of these extra spinoffs and craziness and weather forecasts and stuff. Are you looking forward to rain in iRacing?
To a point, I I love crashes because it's kind of easy for a broadcaster to have some excitement interjected into a long show. I do not like calling races where it is just nonstop crash fest. If you ever go through and watch all the Team Goon Squad broadcasts, you will notice that we no longer cover any leagues that spend more than half the night under caution because it just leads to a terrible show. It's a terrible race. Not about it. So with the rain coming out, I'm really, really hoping that drivers actually put in seat time in it because it is going to be a game changer. I have no idea how iRacing is going to handle this. And like you guys say every week, it's a sim. They do their best. So I'm hoping it gets pretty close. But if it's anything like real life experience on a motorcycle, the seat time needs to happen before guys hop into a race and try and make it happen, or they're going to very quickly find themselves watching their friends have a great time.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking for me, man, because I can't keep that car on the track already. So it's gonna be fun to see how that. Levi, what do you think about it, man? I know you talked about it a little bit last week, but like we've had some time to sleep on it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it. As like James is saying, we'll have to see, but yeah, you're gonna have to practice in it. I mean, it's just any tire changes they make, you have to usually try to get used to that. Any car changes they make, I mean, it's the same thing. And rain is just rain. I'm kind of afraid, like he said, iRacing does their best, but I'm afraid it's going to be like their grass model, which is just ice. So we'll be a frozen tundra when it starts raining, and I don't know what that'll be like. Hopefully they'll update it, and if that is the case, I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm excited for it. I know Norman isn't here, but he said, it's like he was saying that he's really excited to see it in endurance racing, especially like your 12 and 24 hour stuff where it can really, really change. Cold can come in, heat can come in and kind of come and go, but the rain will be a big deal. Whether you stay out and fight or you try to come in and get some better, tires or different tires, or I don't know, maybe it'll give us some different tire compounds and stuff to work with. I'm hoping it's the future. So,
I think like, I guess a guy like me really thrives on strategy in a race because I'm not the fastest. I'm not Finley Fitzsimmons or Mike Barnett or whoever. I guess I was like, now I feel like I should name all my buddies, but anyway, I'm not fast. And so like the races with pit stops and tire factors, that's where I thrive. So I am excited to be able to like, watch the weather radar and make that early pit stop for intermediates or whatever. I feel like a guy like me could benefit from that. So I'm a little excited for it, but that assumes that I can keep my damn car on the track, which is step one. So
yeah, I might sound like I might be the one person who's indifferent about it. I don't know, man. I mean, like, I'm excited to see it. Don't get me wrong. It's another aspect that's definitely been missing from the sim for ever. It's kind of crazy how long it's been out and it doesn't have rain. So I think it'll be nice for shaking up the like endurance races and even for Formula style races, whether it's F3 or F1 or any of the lower tier Formula ladder that they've been building these last couple seasons, I guess. But for me personally, I don't know. I don't really think, I think it's going to be a bit overhyped. From someone who's raced in the rain in real life, it's just like every time I see rain, I'm just like, I don't want to be here. Like I feel like I'm pretty good in the rain when it came to it. Like I did really good last time or last year, a couple years ago when we did rain racing on the road course and stuff. But you know what? From iRacing simulating, the way they simulate the feel of the wheel is they try and give you, as opposed to other sims, they overstimulate how much you get. So you're getting more of a feel through the wheel than you actually would through the wheel to simulate some of that some of the stuff that you're missing out of your, for lack of a better word, out of your ass, right? Because usually you're driving by the seat of your pants, right? So iRacing only simulates it through the wheel. So I'm trying to imagine driving this sim and your wheels light as could be, because that's how it feels in the rain. You turn, it's like you got power steering. That's amazing. Like, put it this way, I don't think it's going to be that great. And I really hope they simulate the rubber properly. From anybody who's raced a kart or even a car, as soon as you hit rubber in the rain, it is ice. It is iRacing grass, for lack of a better word. Like, it's perfect. That's what it should be once you hit the rubber. But driving offline and stuff, like, it's not fun, man. I don't know. I mean, it really depends. Like, it depends where you go. Some tracks rubber up really good because they got banking. Some don't. But I'm telling you, man, it's It's going to be a challenge for a lot of people. It's going to change it up, but I'm okay with one a year, man. That's it. One a season's good enough for me. Let's put it that way. That's how I feel about it.
They've been teasing us so much. I just want to see it. Even if it sucks now, I just want to see it.
Yeah, and without getting like into it too much, because I know we should probably save a true episode where we just bash iRacing. We can call it Dear iRacing, like we can go off about it. And I'll be honest with you, there's so much that I could complain about, but the main one thing, without going on a tangent, is I think we just need a roadmap. We all pay way too much money for this thing, and we don't know where they're going with development. They tease stuff that's been going in development for years now, but you'd think they'd have something out by now. We still don't know when it's coming out. They say sometime this year. It could be delayed. You know how developers and stuff are. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I wish they gave us a development map of where they're going. Like, why do we not have that? Like, even if it's something like, for example, this sim is so behind. It's missing so many elements that other sims have. Why can't we just get a roadmap? If you just tell us like, hey, we don't have enough manpower to work on this right now, but it's on the schedule. Like, we're doing it at a later date. It's going to come. This is what we're doing right now. This is what we're hoping to get done this year. If we don't, it might be early next year. This is what we're planning for the next couple of years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't got to get too crazy into it, but it would be nice. It would help a lot, and it would make a lot of us who pay a lot of money feel better. Let's put it that way.
Or Antonio, is that one of those things, if they set the bar low and don't tell us anything, then surprise, you have rain now? Would that have been the better approach?
I don't know. I don't know if a surprise is the better approach, to be completely honest with you. I just wish there was better updates. I think 2 years ago we got a photo of rain. And I mean, you don't even know if it was legit. It could have just been a filter put over a photo, right? So the next tease they gave us was a picture of some cars on track with some puddles on the track. And it's like, you still don't know where they're at, right? Like, just because they got the rain sorted out don't mean they got all the rain tires for every car sorted out and anything else that needs to go with it, like tire compounds, updated physics for how the track handles in rain. Like, there's so much. How the grass handles in rain, how the sand handles in rain, how a curb feels in rain, how a bump affects you, how a puddle affects. There's so many things and details that go with rain that it's just like, we still don't know where they're at. There's no idea. And it's just, that's one of the most frustrating things. And I promise you, if you ask Norman this question, he would lose his mind about it too. Like, he hates not knowing anything. Cause the biggest thing, I always talk about this with Ray Aguilar, my teammate, is I'm just like, if there was ever a competitor to come out and release a similar ranking system to iRacing, a similar, just release some cars, get some rights to some GTs and stuff like that, and release a completely new game on Unreal Engine or whatever the newest engine is. And if all they did was become a competitor now and get a few rights that iRacing doesn't have, I don't want that. Like, nobody wants a like, I don't want iRacing to be a monopoly and be the only sport or be the only sim and have everything, but at the same, cause, then they can get greedy and stuff like that, like they're doing right now. They can delay progress. They can do all kinds of baloney that we don't even want to get into. But I don't want a competitor either. I don't want to spend this much money on another sim and just switch between the two depending on the car I want to drive. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants that.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I just wish they listened to us. I don't know. That's the frustrating thing about it for me.
Is the goal to raise their price? I've always gotten this vibe lately that, like, all of this is to make me feel like I should be paying more money for this.
I don't know if that's the goal, because I feel like it's weird. I think a lot of people have been saying, like, they really like the publicity. So, like, they were in bed with Mercedes and they got the F1 car and that was huge. And that was it. Like, they focus on that. Or, like, they're in the Porsche garage and they're hanging out with Porsche and they're doing all this stuff. And that's like a huge, like, not necessarily publicity stunt, but they like the fact that, like, they want to feel like they're Mercedes or something, like, for lack of a better term,
Right.
I like to think of, and this is going to hit Levi at home, but I like to think of Caterpillar Machinery as the Mercedes of the machine market, right? So he's throwing hands and stuff on the. We got our cameras up, anyways. but no, I like to think of it like that. So I like to think of iRacing as the. I mean, and I don't think they're like that right now, but I like to think of them as the Mercedes of the sim market. But they're missing so many elements. And Like you look at R Factor 2, everybody was using them for a while. They do have some better stuff. They had some server issues, which just might have ended them, honestly, this last go around with what happened with Max Verstappen and stuff. But we're so close to having a competitor. All we need is someone to perfect the ranking system of official, and they're done. They're not done, but they'll have a true competitor. Like that's all someone needs to do.
See, I started out on Project Cars, first one. And they had a lot of stuff going for them. Of course, it's not as good as a simulator by any means, but they had rain. I think one of the first ones to have rain. Might not have been the best model, but they tried, and they've gotten better with it. And then they came out with a couple more games, this and that. But you got to set a course with the GTs, right? But we're just looking for somebody to have a complete game, I think, to actually rival iRacing.
It's just, I get it. They want content. They need the money. I get it. They might be a small development company. I don't really know much about them. I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, there's key physics in the game that do not work properly, and they have not worked properly for a long time. So why is this not fixed by now? You'd think that would be something that's on the development path that needs to get done. But instead, we're making things like Brazilian stock cars. Like,
yep.
They take on too much. Like, why do we need all 4 different categories? And when I say that, I mean road, oval, dirt, road. Like, why do we need that? I get it. You got to appeal to everybody. Don't get me wrong. Like, they're probably the greatest oval sim out there. Dirt might not be perfect. I don't know much about dirt oval, so don't call me out on this. But dirt oval is probably one of the best ones out there, I would imagine too, right? Like, but there's still things missing from the key ones.
And they took over the World of Outlaws, on console. They've got a standalone game now that's backed by iRacing. That might have been where some of the development went for the last couple of years. Do you really need that? I don't know. Like you said, maybe they're reaching out to other people. They're not reaching out to the people that need to be reaching out to, which is like their core guys. They're trying to get new ones when they haven't even perfected what they've got.
If it gets the controller users off of my sim, then I'm fine with it.
Story. Yeah, true story. This is true. Oh, Joystick Johnny.
And some of them are quick, but like, I don't know.
It's only a matter of time though during the race.
and I mean, I'm not going to go on this tangent of like, it's a simulator, not a game. But like, it's what scratches it for me is like, I built a sim. I felt like I had to build it to play iRacing. I played F1 2020 and 2021 and stuff on a controller. Like I played Forza 7, whatever, or the one that Lewis Hamilton promotes, whatever. I played them all with the controller, and it was fun. And then I got serious and got iRacing and a sim. And so, like, I'm cool with all these people going to console, but it scared me that they would shift back to, like, the NASCAR Heat model a little bit and take away some oval fans from iRacing. Because I think that would suck. I think the oval racing is immaculate. I mean, you get some ARCA races and shit that are crazy, but for the most part, like running IndyCar and stuff on iRacing official, I've had some of the most fun I've ever had is in those races. So
yeah, I can't speak much for Indy, but NASCAR or trucks, so just NASCAR in general, the whole from top to bottom, I'm pretty sure they hold the candle. I mean, I don't know what Antonio thinks about that, because I'm sure I've seen him play some of the NASCAR games and different things, but it's just not the same as what they have in iRacing. So they do that well. But there's a lot of things that still aren't fixed, even with those models. And then you get into Indy, which then brings you into open wheel, and we still don't have some tire compounds for some of the road cars. And then, like you said, they give you the GR86 or whatever that Toyota car was, and Brazilian stock cars, and I don't know where they're going.
Yeah, I say overall they got like the market on lock when it comes to oval racing. I mean, there's a lot of series that they kind of got on lock, but oval hands down the only simulator like that, the only game that's the best, the game sim, whatever you want to call it, 100%. They got that in the bag. And I'm sure they're trying to work on more. They're still missing key elements of some other ladders, but I guess they'll get there eventually. We'll see how it goes. They've been releasing a lot of new content to kind of fill those gaps in the last couple seasons. So we'll see what they do with that, I guess. But from a broadcaster's perspective and someone who only plays in his spare time for fun, What would you say on it, James? I'm curious what your opinion is on the direction of iRacing, even whether it be from cameras and stuff or content or anything. Like, from your perspective, how would you say it looks?
I'm glad you said looks. That's my biggest qualm as a broadcaster is it looks awful. I mean, I know you can run it on a 20-year-old computer and it's just going to work. But I did the math super quickly. So for 30 entries, let's say, about the average entries we get for the endurance series at the regular the regular fee that they pay, just the TGS series nets iRacing $5,400 a year. If all of those get, at about $15 a person, $450 a month for all 30 people, 12 months out of the year. $5,400. So that's a chunk of change. So from my perspective, I get they're trying to keep the barrier of entry accessible to people, where they're not going to lock you out based on hardware, either your computer, your wheel, your Mad Catz controller. But at a certain point, like if you're forking out this much money, I'd kind of like it to look a little bit better as a racer and as a broadcaster. Granted, when I do race, the 3 times a year or whatever it is, I still use my broadcast tweaks to make it a prettier game, but between that and then the off-track physics, I haven't went off-track in a car yet. I've gotten kind of close, but I mean, just from a motorcycle, there's no reason to slide that far sideways across dry grass or into a gravel trap. Like, not even close, man. So
thank you.
Yeah, like Antonio says, like I'm not complaining for how much money I pay for the sim for the enjoyment I get out of it, but I do wish that they would make things happen. And maybe to Antonio's point, maybe a little bit of competition would kind of prod them a little bit and say, hey, these guys have done this really well. We've been kind of pushing it off for a couple of years. We got to step up or get overrun. And again, I don't want to see iRacing getting taken over because as far as I know and from what I've driven, this is it as far as how close it's going to get currently. But yeah, dude, there's for sure room for improvement for the sim.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, I mean, heck, just the looks of it, I think it was Jared might have been the one. Antonio told me about it. Jared kind of helped me hook it up and everything. But that overlay that I use just to get iRacing to have decent colors, not even look that good, but just have decent colors. It's got like this sepia tone.
Yeah, reshade, I bet is what you're running.
Yeah, exactly. Reshade. Yeah. And then I thought my internet was real bad, like horrible out here in Western Oklahoma because where you be in the sticks. And so I finally got 1 gig up, 1 gig down. So I was like, man, I'm maxing this thing out. So I got a new computer. I knew a PC. I knew it run it. So I maxed it out and I was like, some of the lighting looked better, but man, the trees are still trash. And like the cars themselves look decent. The guys you're running up against and stuff like that. But I don't know. Like you said, 5,400 or whatever the round number you came up with just for like one league. Like that's just one league. And how many leagues are there out there? I mean, thousands.
Yeah.
They're getting enough money. Money is not the issue. I think it's
my thing is like there's the crypto mining is kind of dying out. New GPUs are really expensive due to price gouging, but now on eBay, like you can get a 6 gigabyte 980 Ti for like $150 used. And so I don't like the fact, and I ran iRacing on that from the very beginning at pretty good quality. And so like if they're still programming for the like 700 series cards and like all of those like 2009, 2008 PCs, I don't know, man. I don't like that excuse. You know what I mean? Like, if you're still running that PC, like, and are you still running a sim from 2008? Also, like,
what else are you running on that PC?
720p monitor with 60 frames. Like, there's just been so many times and opportunities to upgrade. I just really don't think that many passionate iRacing users are that in the past anymore.
Yeah, like as much as I want this to be accessible to everybody, I mean, there is a barrier to entry for sim racing. This isn't Forza. This isn't the Formula games. This takes an investment. I mean, just your membership without the cool deals and stuff like that for the first time, that's $180 a year, and then you can't get out of rookies. So I don't know how much content I have. I looked at it once, and it was a disgustingly high number that I've spent on everything. But I mean. Correct me. I mean, what do you guys think? Can you drop $1,000 your first year iRacing if you got all the way up to C class and did everything? So at that point, like, iRacing needs to recognize if we're going to spend this much money to support your program, you kind of have to realize that the guy on the 1998 Windows XP computer is not your target demographic. Therefore, you don't need to set the graphics for that demographic. You have to kind of scale to where your clientele is.
Very well said. Agreed. Yeah, no, I don't know. I think I've looked it up, and I think in about 3 or 4 years, I don't even want to know what I'd paid, and I was running a T150 for a lot of years, as in a steering wheel, and a Thrustmaster, low Thrustmaster family. I just upgraded to PC Racer, which isn't much better, but I did get a rig. I got the 3 screens, triple monitors. I got the extra monitor so that I can, see all my telemetry and the telemetry apps. And I bet you I'm in. I mean, I don't even want to know, honestly. But it's an investment. Anything over $1,000 for me is going to be a, in quote, investment. So if I'm investing, I would really like them to invest also.
I mean, let's put it this way. There's dudes probably when you combine monitors, your computer, your setup, your mic, your headset, your chair, everything, you probably got, most dudes probably got minimum 10 G's in this. Let's be honest. And then you get content and that's all of that's a bare minimum, probably 10 G's. Let's be real here.
Still cheaper than a real car too.
Yeah. Well, that's my excuse. That's my excuse. 1, we don't have many dirt tracks around here anymore. And 2, not like I'd get into dirt track racing. It's really hard to get into dirt track racing. But at the same time, it's close to I'm ever going to get. In my lifetime, I'm already 40 years old. I'm an old man over here. I'm not going to, start a race team right now. This isn't some movie where we get to do that kind of stuff. So I'm doing the best I can with what I've got, and that this is it. And I'm kind of we've been talking about, I'm stuck with iRacing until something else comes out better or they fix their stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a good segue real quick into, I'm going to touch quickly on the reason I wasn't here last week. So a lot of people were wondering where I was at. So I was actually prepping to get ready for real life racing. Unfortunately, it rained out, which was really crappy. Prep to get everything ready. So I got no racing feedback. I got a whole lot of wet clothes. And that's about it personally. On a cool note, this weekend though, I am going, to good old Yakima, Washington. That is about 5 hours from where I'm at. My sister's, racing quarter midgets down there. So that'll be cool. I'm going to get to go out there and, support her. That'll be cool.
So for the first time listeners as well, you race Legends cars, and I've got a question. My background versus yours, talking about getting rained out, rain delay, stuff like that. Do you guys run rains at all in the ovals or the road courses you do?
So we have rain tires available. So unfortunately, and I could go on a tangent about this all day, we switched tire suppliers to Hoosier. And if you know me, I hate Hoosier. There is nothing wrong with the tire itself. They are the worst company ever for upholding their ability to supply tires. There is nothing but shortages. Every time we used it, it happened to us in quarter midgets. It's happening to us in Legends. I hate them. I will despise of that company, and I will get mad at them all day. But that's besides the point. So to your question, we got dry tires. We got rain tires. Typically, most series only race rain tires on road courses. So we got to try them out last year on the road course. Actually, 2021 was the prime year we got to use them most because that's when I was running road only because I couldn't get across the border. They don't do a whole lot. I'm not going to lie. It's not a crazy difference. It's a bit softer of a tire compound. So you can imagine there's a little bit more grip in it than you'd see from your traditional tire, but it's not great. Our track actually, so my main home tracks is Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington. It's a pretty big track, probably one of the biggest speedways in the Pacific Northwest. They run ARCA West. They run one of the Northwest Super Late Model Tour or something like that. I can't remember the name, but they got lots of sponsors and big backings and big crowds. So they pull a lot of money. So they started this big movement that any series that's NASCAR backed. And so by NASCAR backed, I just mean you got to have some sort of NASCAR license. They're part of the home tracks thing. I'm sure you've seen with modifieds and the other stuff you might see on NASCAR's actual home track stuff. You can find it on YouTube, and some other series support it too.
Okay.
But we have to run in the rain on ovals too, but we choose not to. So I didn't actually go out to the track this weekend. We heavily watched the forecast because this track's somewhere I can go in the morning. Like if I wake up at 6 a.m, I'm there. We do practice over the morning, afternoon, and then qualifying heats, mains. But main events don't start till like, traditional short tracks. We don't start till like 6, right? So it's pretty late in the day. So we made a call Saturday morning. We're like, no, it's going to rain. Like there's no point. And I come to find out practice rained out, quality rained out, heats rained out. The only thing that ran was the main, and it ran with a dry groove, and the rest of the track was soaked, and it was nothing but caution. So I'm glad I missed it.
And still full priced entry.
Yeah, it's still full price entry. So it's honestly, if you're not racing for points, there's no point. Like, right and I mean that in two ways. You could take that as a competitive standpoint of, hey, if I'm not racing for I'm racing for championship points, and that's the only reason I'm here. Or you can take it from my perspective, where I'm just like, I'm not racing for a championship. I'm not gonna win. I don't got the best equipment in the world. I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest. So there's no point in going and biffing my car the first race of the season and putting me on a complete back foot for the entire season, right? So I just choose to not go to those ones. Oval racing in the rain is the stupidest thing ever. I don't encourage anyone to try it. It's a waste of time and money, especially if you wreck. Don't try it. But hopefully that answers your question.
Sir. Thank you. It does. That's cool. And that's always, I have very little car experience from a Lemons race. So I have no insight on the oval world from what it is from a driver's point of view. So it's always cool to hear. And like guys in different disciplines are still doing like the same third call dance that we do on bikes, where you're looking up at the sky and going, is it going to rain? Do I throw on rains? Can I run dries? So it's always fun to hear from the different guys' perspectives.
Yeah. And of course this, slipping my mind right now. There's this, visor cam. I can't remember. Oh, cam box. That's what they call it. There's this, if you guys get a chance to look it up, it's called cam box. I want to get one of these things. They go in your helmet, on your visor. It's kind of like how, NASCAR
F1?
had their visor cam for a while. Sort of like F1. F1's like on the side, so you get that visor glare. It's terrible, but it goes right in the middle of your helmet. It's super small. It sits like on the roof of your visor of where like the cutout is for your eyes. I'm just trying to get perspective for audio listeners. Obviously, we don't have any visual cues right now that we could give, but it sits dead center. Imagine you took literally a line from your nose and went up 2 inches, and you put it there and stuck a camera there. It's not in your vision of sight. It gives a great POV. I really want to get one of these for this.
Yeah,
this show people what it's like.
This looks cool.
Yeah, I got a GoPro right now, so I'm definitely going to have some footage at some point. I'm going to upload it on my YouTube channel if anybody cares to look. Just look up my name. But it gives you good perspective. Oh, I don't think a lot of people understand how much oval racing is hard. I mean, it's not easy. There's a lot that goes into it, whether it's setup or driving. I mean, on that note, we probably shouldn't talk too much about this. We'll save it for another time where I actually have some racing to talk about. We kind of need to segue into the one and only oval track professionals, good old NASCAR, and some Bristol Dirt, baby. Where's our dirt boys at? I know Levi's one of them.
So I am a dirt boy, but for some reason they put dirt on Bristol again, which I don't really see the point in that. There's good dirt tracks out there, right? But this kind of goes back to the Clash talk and why we're going to places that there's other tracks that are already around. Why are we making new tracks? But anyways, no, NASCAR Bristol, finally a dirt track guy won it. I'm kind of jumping to the end, but Bell for the win. So, I mean, glad Logano didn't win it again. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was a nice change up.
Hey, yeah, you're right, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, Blaney got a heat win. I'll take it. That's about all he got, but he got a heat win.
He looks good out there every week until the very couple, like, last 10 to 20 laps.
Well, cool thing about Blaine is he can do a 360 and they don't throw a caution. So
how about Michael McDowell doing
don't get me started.
360s? Did you see that?
What's that?
Michael McDowell did 2 360s. So that was the first thing that like got me on the whole what's NASCAR's deal with caution consistency was so Michael McDowell flips a rad 360 and keeps going. And they throw the caution. And it was like a really stupid caution. And then later we saw him do it again and they didn't throw the caution.
What about Larson too? Larson's
I mean,
gone.
yeah,
we
a
have
bunch
Bush
of
spin
dudes.
off line and going to pit road. Like,
Yeah,
what?
and then after that first McDowell 360, we'll call it a 360, like three no scope, no 360, no green. Anyway, after that shenanigan, and they threw the caution. It's like it was like a ref compensating in football. It was like the next were like no calls, like no cautions, no matter what. We're running green. Like, everybody keep your together. Like, we're running green, you know?
Yeah, I mean, here we go again with NASCAR, you know? But, I mean, they do it to themselves. They do it to themselves.
They do, bro.
Anyways, I mean, the race was okay. I don't know. I just don't like the big cars on dirt all that much. I think, you know, they asked, I think it was Kyle Larson. He's a dirt guy. I mean, that's where he came from. He's not a big fan. Bristol, I like Bristol. Why can't we just race Bristol night and go somewhere else for dirt?
Yeah, I'm with you. And I'm going to run you through my opinion in just a sec. I just want to touch quickly on the results. So qualifying, we saw our usual. I'm not going to go over the heats. I'm not going to lie. I didn't watch the heats. All you got to know is who won the first one? I know Blaney won one of them. Someone won the other one.
Doesn't matter who won or whatever, because it was so confusing to find out what it mattered that it, you know.
Yeah,
and
so
again, we're going to do dirt, but we're going to make it so confusing.
Cool.
Yeah, y'all can look it up. Anyways, qualifying, we saw our typical people at the front who run dirt. We got Larson, Austin Dillon, JJ Yaley, Christopher Bell, and Kyle Busch. Let's go on to our stage one. Pretty much the same order of who finished first in stage one. So we got Larson, Dillon, and Busch. Stage two, we got Reddick, Dillon, and Larson. And then the good old finale, we saw a lot of guys get taken out. So a lot of your typical contenders, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, even Logano. We got guys gone that were up there. So taking the reins, we ended up having Christopher Bell finish the race in first after a yellow ended the race on the white flag, which doesn't happen too often anymore. Thank gosh it wasn't an overtime restart. Let's be honest, that stuff terrible. Would have killed me. Yeah. I guess I'll move us into what was an abysmal truck race. I don't know if you guys watched it. It was terrible. There was literally a caution every 10 laps. I watched it PVR and I finished the race in half an hour. Skipping through all the cautions. But I don't know. It wasn't good. I don't want to cover it too much. There's no point. So I'm going to just go back into the cup race.
Hey, real quick. I mean, on James's point, you know, he wouldn't even televise them. They have too many cautions. He would cut them off. He would have cut them off. So
it's bad, man. It's too much. I mean, I get it. It's the lowest series, but I don't know, man. Always got some issues. I don't know if it's a driving
pro
standard
series
or what. Yeah, exactly. It's still a pro series, but you wouldn't think that. It's just, I don't know if it's the new gen drivers coming up and the standards of driving being different, because I've noticed that as I've come up the ladder over the years. I'm just like, whoa, these guys race you like tools now compared to what they did 5 years ago. But I don't know. It shouldn't be like that. And I don't know. I think something's got to change in that regard. But back to the cup race, I guess. So we ran over the results already. I mean, the cautions were weird. I mean, I just would like to see consistency. I thought they were pretty good all night, other than that one McDowell thing. The Larson spin was weird, and so was the Busch one. That one was the strangest concept to me. I don't know why they threw a caution for that, because he was off the track, gathered it back up, and was going down pit road. So I was like, so it's weird. It's like sometimes they want to throw it right when they see the car get sideways, and sometimes the guy can do a full 360 once or twice and keep going, like we saw Blaney at the end of the race. By the way, I was livid at that point.
Yeah.
Looking back on
I see
it,
the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. Looking back on it, I'm just like, I don't know. I listened to some guys on DBC and they were like, oh, they were okay with the Ryan Blaney one not being a caution. And I'm like, okay, I guess I like, from trying to not be a biased fan perspective, I'm like, okay, I get it. But at the same time, I'm just like, man, like, I don't know. Like, if the other ones were cautions, like, why was that one not a caution? Not that I wanted to see more cautions, but I guess it's kind of a good thing, because if they did throw cautions, we would have probably seen like 3 or 4 more. But I don't know. What do you guys' take on the cautions? Like, I thought they were bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's same as always. You know, Well, this one actually not the same as always because they could have done more and they didn't. I don't know if they were just trying to move the race along. It wasn't a good spot. I mean, I wasn't getting the feel for have we had a commercial in the last 10 minutes or not. I don't. Who knows? Your guess is good as mine. I mean, if either of you other guys can chime in. Hey, James, you're broadcaster. Why'd they not tell them cautions and whatnot? Is it because broadcasting or something else?
I was gonna guess. So I've only watched one NASCAR race through its completion. That was the first ever Bristol Dirt race. So give NASCAR some credit. They got a non-NASCAR guy to watch it with a gimmick. So hats off to them. It worked for one guy. Go. Haven't watched any more since then. So I guess it goes back to your favor. But I think, was it 2 years ago? That was the first Bristol Dirt race? 1 year?
Something like that.
I think it was two. And this was the third one.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one was an absolute dumpster fire through and through, and caution fest, poor visibility. As a guy who's raced dirt ovals on bikes, I was like, this is awesome. These guys do not have it together. So I think they're just trying to get past that stigma of how bad it was at first. I want to say it was the second year they did it was a mutter for all the trucks. So I think they're trying to get through the show at some point too, where somebody in race control is going, guys, like, we got to get it together. This is not a race anymore. This has gone past the point of an entertaining gimmick crash fest to painful for everybody involved.
Embarrassing. Yeah, but so in that aspect, they did get it together at least, right? I mean, at least they had a race.
Yeah.
Overall, it was a good race. Like, I thought the racing was pretty good for the most part. Do we agree? I mean, I hadn't seen issues with the actual quality of racing.
It's hard for it to be bad racing, right? You put guys on a short dirt track like that in stock cars, like, it's going to be entertaining, but is it like they were side by side and there were some good passes and stuff, but do we need it, you know?
Well, in my best Norman impression, entertaining doesn't always mean good racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think to go into this more I don't know. You heard Kyle Larson say it. He don't think we need to be doing it, and I stand by him on that. I'm not trying to be a dirt hater. I really like dirt. It takes a lot of talent to run those things, to run anything on dirt. You see those outlaw guys, they are insane. You see Larson, like, you can see his skill transfers over to other sports and he kicks everybody's. It's honestly crazy. So obviously we know it requires talent. But you know what, man? Like, these cars are too heavy. They're not made for dirt. And if they were made for dirt, the package you would need to build would be so expensive to actually make them adapt to dirt. They tear up the track so quick. Like, I was in chat, I was watching PVR, and I was on lap like 60 or something saying, hey man, this track ain't gonna last. Like, it's already getting torn up at lap 60, and Dave was live at like 120, and he was like, yep, they were just bringing that up. And I'm like, I've been around enough dirt tracks to know, like, this track ain't gonna last, dude. Like, it lasted really good this go around. I'm not gonna lie. Compared to the last two, it did a lot better. But man, it still was torn up at the end. The track was black slick at the end of the race. There was freaking grip everywhere. It was just like, I don't know. There was thankfully not too many ruts. There was that one really bad one. I want to say it was in like the middle of 3 and 4. It might have been 1 and 2. I think it was 3 and 4. But I just really think these things don't belong on dirt. And a lot of guys argue saying, hey, just go to Eldora, something like that. But dude, you take 40 heavy sliding around stock cars, they are going to tear apart no matter what track you put them on, and it's just not going to be good. So either you got to lower the lap counts way down, or you set a car cap count, or something. I mean, I don't know if you can water the track down to make it better. I know they do that in other races, but they're also doing it on way smaller tracks. So it's one of those things. I don't know.
Can they not do maybe a feature race style, like Saturday Night Dirt Track Racing?
Well, like a true race, like cut out, we show up, 40 guys show up, let 20 into the main.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's frustrating that your favorite driver might not be there at the end, but if you have, qualifier races like they do in dirt track, like I said, your local dirt track, you don't always make it. You got to race in. And like you said, that would lower the lap counts. It would make it more exciting. There'd be more stops for NASCAR. They could stop in between every one of them and go to commercial for, however long. We got to hear that stupid guitar.
Well, and it would actually be cool. You could turn it into a cool event. Like if you really wanted to keep them on it and you shorten the races down, you take like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, do what F1 does, okay? Take Friday, do your qualifying, and do your heat races, okay? So you set your grid, and then you come back, and then you do your truck race, and you do maybe not qualifying heats, actually. Let me reiterate that. So do practice and qualifying the first day. The second day, do your heats, your B main, your truck race, and then the Sunday, do your A main, and only 20 guys race. And that's it. Maybe you can do a little bit more. You can do like 25, if you're wrong, 24, something like that. But anything that the track won't get destroyed, because you're at such a disadvantage already because of how heavy these things are. They just don't handle. Me personally, I don't think they should go on dirt at all. It's a gimmick. Don't replace it with a road course. We don't need too many of those. There's 36 races a year, give or take. 6 need to be a road course, 30 need to be ovals. Like, ovals is what the sport originated on. Don't go too crazy with it. And I know that's a different topic, so I'm not going to get too into it, but we don't need dirt. That's my end. That's my opinion. No dirt.
That's for our later NASCAR and How We Fix It podcast.
Starring Norman.
Yeah.
We're going back to the good old days, boys.
I'm a newer NASCAR fan, and I'm already tired of the gimmicks. Like, if you want to do gimmicks, then let's do dirt at the Coliseum at LA, and let's have Pitbull perform, and we'll, whatever, and like, let's just get it all over with at once, because who is this for, right? Who is this for?
I don't know what other sport you go to, motor racing sport, the big ones that you go to, and there's this much gimmick stuff. Like, they're not doing Indy dirt. I mean, I know that's throwing it out there way far, but I'm just saying F1 stays true to what they do. They try to stay at the same tracks, the same kind of style. Indy does the same thing, street, oval.
And NASCAR's over here like, let's go to Chicago street course. Like,
yeah, let's put up a circus tent. And let's have a circus. Everybody come in. Don't know what you're going to see until you get here.
Oh, man. Well, a lot of questionable calls, a lot of questionable stuff. I mean, is 2023 going to be the year of just like everyone dropping the ball, or are we just grumpy old men, or like, what's the deal here?
Well, yeah, I'm a grumpy old man, but
I mean, I don't want to get onto on a NASCAR too hard. I'm not gonna lie, the racing's been a lot better this year so far. For the most part, like we saw last week, Richmond was probably one of the best Richmond races you normally see. Richmond ain't typically a crazy race, but it was good. There was action the whole race. Without going on a bash NASCAR or hey, these are my changes, or as I said earlier, it's with Dear iRacing or a Dear NASCAR podcast. Like, we can save that for an episode, but I do really think they need to push some sort of shorten the race movement. And 100 laps even makes a difference when you're doing 500 at Bristol. Like, I'm telling you, there's hours and hours that people sit here. I like the 250 lap length. I thought that was great. Why can't we do that every week? I don't know. I'm huge on the shorten the races movement, but I guess the last thing I have real quick for NASCAR is and we can just breeze over this. I mean, there's not really much to talk about on it, but Cody Ware got he missed this last race because he got arrested actually, and it turns out he got arrested for a felony assault charge and I don't know if we should go into the details of it. I'll let you look it up. I don't want to go crazy with it because I don't know what I'm supposed to say and what I'm not supposed to say.
Strangulation charge. We can say that.
He can say it.
We're
going for it, guys.
Here we go.
Like, this wasn't like I punched some dude at a bar because he grabbed my wife's butt. Assault charge. Like, he strangled a girl for a second.
Yeah, which makes it, and not, like you said, we're not gonna get too detailed, but it does up the felony charge. It makes it a lot more serious in most states.
I would
it steps it up
imagine
sometimes.
He strangled a person.
Yeah, what an
Yeah, well, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was like, what an idiot, because that's the most PG thing I could think to say on the air.
Yeah, I mean, totally uncalled for. Cannot do it. Can't even, I mean, get physical at all. But then take it to the next level. You're having issues. Dude's got some issues of some sort.
Hope we don't ever see him again. His dad owns a race team. He's a rich daddy's racer in NASCAR, and now he strangles people. And this isn't, I was reading today, that this isn't the first time that a wear has been involved in an assault charge against a woman either. So it's not like this was an out of the blue crazy event. Like family has history of it. So anyway, I hope we don't ever see the guy again. Get out of here.
Yep.
I'm with you on that. I feel like it's a waste of people of someone in the sport. Like, fill it with a good driver, or not even a good driver. Just fill it with someone who deserves it more.
He hasn't performed worth. He's been in the sport how many years? 3-4 years.
He's got 97 starts, and he's been here since 2017.
And what's his highest finishing position? Or like he finishes an average like in the 20s. Like, dude's a nobody. Get out of here, man. Like,
don't be trashing on people who finish in the 20s all the time.
Hey, come on, man. I've been there. I've been there.
Easy there all day.
Depends on the field size.
Yep. That's what she said.
Amen, brother.
His best finish, by the way. Let's see if you guys can guess what his best finish is, because it's lower than I thought it was.
9.
21st.
Okay. What about you, Levi?
What is his highest?
Best finish.
Man, probably a double deuce, 22.
All right, James, what's yours?
I said 9.
Oh.
His best finish was 32nd.
Oh my God.
That has to be for a race, not for his career, correct?
My dad's richer than yours.
Okay, so his okay, you want to laugh because I don't even know how this is possible, but his so his best finish in Cup is 32nd. His best finish in Xfinity is 42nd, and his best finish in trucks, I don't even know how this is possible. This must be championship standings. His best finish was 60th. Like, how is that even possible?
That has to be.
God.
Yeah.
But either way,
Like,
your highest was 36. Like, I know
Yeah,
enough
32nd
cars that wreck
must
out.
be.
If you just show up and stay in the race, you'd probably do better.
Okay. So he's gotten a top 10 before, because I realize now the stat says he's gotten a top 10. So
There it
James
is,
is probably the
James.
closest. It must be 9th. We got to find his best finish.
Levi,
But that must have been
iRating's
best
not looking so
championship
bad anymore.
standing.
I know. I mean, well, see, that's who I'm going to judge myself against, his mugshot in my
standards.
picture. Yeah, his mugshot in my picture. I'm going to stick it up somewhere and be like, I can beat this guy. If this guy ever races, I got him. I kind of, so I don't know enough about his dad or any of the stuff that goes on with Brickware Racing. But I don't really, I mean, I kind of, when I first heard it, I kind of felt bad for his dad. You know, it's like, here you are, you gave your son a ride. He's not apparently doing that well, is what we found out stat-wise. And then on top of all that, he can't, keep from doing what he did. And so now he's got to get him loose. And I mean, is this one of those that we want Rick Ware Racing out?
Okay. So hold on. So best finish in the Cup Series was 6th place at Daytona. So technically James was the closest. However, prior to 2022, it was 19th. So you guys were close. He only lucked out this year. He's got a 17th, an 18th, a 19th, a 6th, 17th again.
So Daytona in the big car?
Yeah, this was in Cup. Let's see what his best finish ever is. I see 7th in 2020 Xfinity. That's, I think, it.
You know what? I'm just going to say it. Enough time on this fella. I don't want to talk about this guy's career
Wait,
anymore.
hold on. He's won the Asian Le Mans Series in 2019 and 2020 in an LMP2. Wait, this will discredit it. Okay, LMP2M.
Oh, come on.
There must have been 2 races and that guy crashed out. It has to be.
He's the only one. I promise you, he's the only one that year in that specific class. He probably made one lap, parked it.
Well, get out of here, bro. We don't like you anymore. We never liked you.
Sorry, man.
Yeah,
can't
bro.
be a part of this.
Yeah, sign me, Rick Ware. I got you, bro. I can get you better than 30
He had a
seconds.
good social media following. He likes anime, whatever. People liked him for a bit, but now we don't like you, bro. Get out of here.
Yeah, just a trash person. Enough.
Yep. Don't like
Swerve.
you. Not my
Not
friend
a
anymore.
fan. So yeah, I think that pretty much does it. I'm gonna throw it over to James East. Go ahead and let us know about TGS Team Goon Squad and all their good places they could find that and tune in to your wonderful services.
Yeah, for sure. TeamGoonsquad.com. It's got all the broadcast information, our Discord. It's got a link where you can sign your league up for a league merch program, so you can kind of help pay for your own broadcast, which is pretty cool. We have our own in-house endurance series, which is super rad for guys of all skills and abilities. And we always support our homies over here at Lab Zero as well. So it's really cool to see friends helping out friends and kind of making dreams happen across the sim. So thank you guys again for having me and all the listeners out there for the support.
Yeah, good group of guys over Team Goon Squad. I'm not just saying that. I say it every time. Dudes do well. They want to see other guys do well. It's good stuff, man. Go check them out. Get on their Discord. Get on our Discord. Lab Zero podcast tips support.
Go tell Norman to come home.
Yeah, come home, Norman. We miss you, buddy. League Zero. Where can they find that at there, Antonio?
LeagueZero.net or check out the Discord. I'm sure you can find it somewhere, but we'll have it. We got it on the website.
I'll put it in the show notes.
And that's a wrap. I mean, except for, I'm happy to say that we got to interview someone, and it was James East, and Norman missed out. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did he set it up
Norman.
too?
That's awesome. Yeah, he set it up. He missed it.
Okay, we'll get him next time.
Bye-bye. Sorry, Norman.
Hey, it's okay. He's interviewing Josh.